Cal's a really good team. I think that they shoot the ball well. They have some good weapons. They're so much better than they were a year ago. And I think that we came out ready to play and determined. We played with 7 people today and really just left our hearts out, made some mistakes, but then just found a way to just make big plays when they counted. And I was really proud of Helena played 40 minutes, 39-28. And she was only out the last 28 seconds, so she was a little gassed. And then our defense, the fourth quarter, I was really happy with. Holding Cal to 10%, 1 for 10, and 1 for 7 from the 3. When we were exhausted with limited numbers, that's a good defensive performance for us. So I'm proud of our team. Very happy.
And just why Kayden was out.
She wasn't available today, so just the decision not to play her, and I could have tried to possibly, but it would just risk injury. So yeah, so I was not going to play with her. 7 people. A couple of times I looked down like, it was hard. We had 1 post sub and one post sub and 1 guard sub, so a lot. So when we got a little bit of foul trouble, I tried to go. So we had a little bit of foul trouble. They were kind of making a run. I went into a zone. Then they scored 2 threes. I was kind of like, oh gosh, I was a little bit worried. And then we kind of played with fouls, and I thought the game was managed well and just made some big plays. So really, really happy. It was a tough game.
What do you make of Skylar's first start?
I think that she was a little nervous, but I think she really did some great things defensively, some steals, fast breaks. I think, she's just young, so some of the passes, they look great, but they're just really hard, especially like in the seams. But that's just a learning thing, so she's got to just learn to jump, stop, slow down. But I thought she did some really good things. I thought she played good minutes, and she's getting experience. She was 2 for 2 from the field, 6 points, 3 steals. So I thought a solid performance for a freshman in a difficult situation that found out she was starting today, because we didn't know what our availability would be today, and then she stepped up, and I think that's hard. So all these things are going to help us later down the road.
And Courtney.
Courtney, really good minutes. I thought Courtney played the way Courtney can play today. She didn't take as many risks defensively. I thought she was super tenacious on the ball. Great energy, good finishes, some brilliant plays that she kind of bobbed and weaved. It reminded me like Ari through defense and just found a way to make the layups. I thought she jump stopped and finished strong, and that's something we've been working on in practice, because before she would just go up and miss, but you saw her jump stopping, gathering, and she can jump. I thought she was really good tonight.
And just both offensively and defensively, but you look at your offense, the movement, the ball movement, the sharing, the team basketball, as well as on defense, but that came together tonight. We really haven't seen such a full performance like this all year. What was it that sort of allowed them to do that tonight?
I think we've had a really tough road stretch, which is I've never had 4 games on the road in the Pac-12. Some of my friends have coached in the league over 20 years. I've never seen that, so unfortunately we were the culprits of that. But I think it was just relief to be home, to be home with our crowd, to be home in our beds, and to we know we play well at home. I think it was just a big confidence thing. And I think that they knew that we'd possibly potentially go into the game with 7 players, and everybody knew they had to step up. And I think everybody just I saw it in their eyes at shoot-around. They really wanted to win this game, and I knew they were going to pour everything on the line to do it and find a way. And they did that, and they were determined to do it. I think if Salvo kind of talked about our defense and our heart, to have a defensive performance like this when people are playing tons of minutes, that's hard to do with our style, and we have to play that style because that's the way that we could win. So I thought that they just were really confident and determined, happy to be home. Know we have this 3-game stretch, and knowing we need to try to win games at home, and we've lost so many games close. So I think for now I was kind of like, okay, the close ones, one of those games we're going to win. So I was glad that we were able to pull away, but we've had every game in the last 5 games within a possession. So this was the first time it was kind of like, okay, thank God it's not one possession, So I think they really wanted it today.
Mentally, it's hard, like you were just saying, coming off of those 4 games on the road, coming home, they had to be tired, just mentally and physically exhausted from that. How do you help them flip that switch, right?
Well, I think just the psychological part of being home is one thing. I think you have more confidence at home. I think you're in your bed. Stuff is more routine for you. So I think that brings confidence. And I think that they know we play really good at home. They know we have the fans. So I think that breeds confidence. And it's important this was a really important game for us because it could have led to a 6-game losing streak. And I think it would have for sure if we don't win this game. And we only have 3 at home, and then we go to LA, which is a tough weekend. So getting at least 2 wins at home is very important. 2 out of 3 would be ideal. 3 out of 3 is perfect, and that would be the perfect situation. And then go steal some on the road. But I feel like because we lost some close games before that we need to win, and you want to make the tournament. So you have to win some Pac-12 games. So statistically, if you look at the stats, they're really bad on the road. They were coming into this game like 11-29, so I think they're worse now. So essential to win games at home. And I think that they were just confident, felt good, and Cal is good. I think in the past couple of years, they weren't as good, but they are talented. They can shoot the ball. They can post you up. They can rebound. So they have a good point guard. And all shooters, sometimes on the court, they have 4 shooters, and they bring a shooter coming out off the bench. So they're good, and they're going to beat some people. But our conference is a monster, and every weekend is tough. So if you can win a tough one at home. But, like now we've exerted a lot, so we got to rest tomorrow, and then we got to try to beat, another really good team on Sunday. So it doesn't get easy. And then we got to beat another good team the next week, and then we got to go on the road and beat the couple of teams. So it's hard to get wins.
I said that she watched some film and kind of slowed down. It helped her with turnovers. What have you been talking to her about those turnovers?
We're talking to her about not driving all the way into congestion, not forcing the game. Like, let us run some stuff that gets her with movement. She can use her quickness, and she doesn't have to drive it and force stuff. She also doesn't have to jack up threes out of frustration, and she didn't today because she's a good three-point shooter, but her numbers aren't good because they're bad shots and frustration, not in the flow. It's like, oh, I'm not touching it, shoot it. So I think we shared the ball. We pounded the ball inside. I mean, I think we dominated the paint, and we haven't dominated the paint in a long time. But I think just letting things come, not putting so much pressure. I think you see with 5th years and seniors, they always play with a tremendous amount of pressure in January, February. Because even we saw this with Ari when she was here, because it's the stress of you want to play really good in the Pac-12. We still have some games, but like you're almost halfway, right? I don't know exactly if we're half. But you want to play good, so you press. And I think you see that a lot because then you don't know. And then the stress of not knowing what's next. You know you have the Pac-12, but then what are you going to do after? So I think that's a normal stress I see kids in like February. It's like you're trying to go pro. You're like, are you on those boards? They all look at that stuff. Are you going to get drafted? What are you going to do? The unknown is very stressful. So you see them like with a lot of like very tense. I've seen that with every 5th year. So I think she kind of took a step back, and she knows what she's capable. She's capable of a double-double, and 20 and 7 is really good. She's rebounding a lot harder. Think about the last 2 games. She's pursuing the ball more. She wasn't doing that a month ago because I think she was frustrated from offense. And as Mary only took 10 shots. So if you look at the balance and the distribution on our team with shots, no one took over 10 shots. And that's team basketball. So as Mary took 10, Brea took 7, Jada took 8, Skylar only took 2, Helena 5, Courtney 7, 5. That is balance, and everybody scored and contributed. That's what you want. You don't want a big imbalance. You won't win games like that. You may score some points, but you're not going to win like that. And a lot of those quick shots will lead to they're like a turnover. They'll lead to transition baskets. And we were able to hold a team to 55. I don't know the last time we held a team to 55. I mean, and Cal's a good team. So I think that this was a good team basketball. This is how we need to play.
I know it's a little early, but as you look ahead to Stanford, Kiki, you got to play Kiki, and looks like Cam was back tonight. So what's your scout sort of on
She can't sit out a couple more games? Darn, sorry, Cam. I want you to be healthy, but
full Stanford, what's your scout?
Stanford's really good. They play the percentages. We know we're going to be open every possession. They're not going to guard us. Like, they're going to make us, if we don't have a high percentage shot from 3, they're not going to guard us. So I think being patient, like a lot similar to how you'd play against Oregon State. So you're going to have the pull-up jumper. You're going to have that. You need to reverse the ball and try to attack on the backside, pull Cameron away from the basket, and then we have to guard Cameron. We may have to do some different double teaming schemes because she's hard for us to handle one-on-one, and that's the reality. She's a very good player. And so I just think we have to put a solid defensive performance. We have to rebound a little better. I thought we out-rebounded so for the third game in a row, which is good, so we've improved. But you saw that stretch of like 3 or 4 offensive rebounds. Those are those stretches we can't have. But before we had those stretches the whole game. Now we have them for these minutes, but it's improved. But we still have growth in that area, and if we don't do it against Cameron Brink, she'll have 20 rebounds and Kiki. So just a little bit more solid, I think. But playing team basketball like this will help us moving the ball, finding the open person. I don't think anybody forced shots tonight. I mean, did you guys see any shots over double teams, any forced shots? I don't think we forced any. I think, if anything, we were unselfish on some shots. Like Isis is an example that sticks out in my mind before film. She received a pocket pass, she had a layup, and she found someone for a 3 that hit it. Like, those are things, those are the unselfish plays in transition we didn't ever force. We had assists to layups. And that's how you want to play, because then everybody runs harder, and that's just the type of basketball we have to play. And we are better like that. So when Kayden comes back, we'll play the same. Sharing, distributing, even. That's how we're going to win. We're not going to win another way.
Anything else for Coach?
No? Okay, thanks, guys.